Hey, great day. My name is Dr. TK, and today we are talking about digital products and how you can generate more money in your business easily and effortlessly. So, if you are like most online creators, you are confused about what digital product to create. You're more confused about potentially who you want to serve, and then also what are the steps that are included for you to launch a digital product. So, in this video, we are going to talk about three things that you want to consider before you launch a digital product. And then, if you stay until the end, I'm also going to share with you 5 digital product ideas that you can consider adding as a stream of income to your existing business. So, let's go ahead and get started. I'm an online course creator. And when I think about adding a stream of income to my business, the first thing that I ask myself is, who do I want to serve with this particular digital product? Okay. And so when you think about your audience, you want to consider who can benefit from a digital product, maybe even who have I created unknowingly digital products for in the past. And then also, you may want to consider in what type of format do you want to deliver a digital product in? For example, do you want it to be like a checklist, a worksheet, a book? And all of these things are important because based on the clientele that you want to offer the digital product to, it has to be able to match how they want to consume information. So when I think about my target audience before I create any digital product, I'm a professor, so I tend to think about things from a learning styles perspective. If you are not familiar with learning styles, it is read, write. You have, straighten up my mic, sorry. You have read, write. You have hands on, which is like tactile, kinesthetic. You have visual and you have auditory. Now, technically, even the way that I am hosting this video on live stream is that you visually can see me, you can hear me, you can write things down based on what I put on the screen or the notes that you want to take. And then hands on would be the read, writing, and doing something after the video, right? But before you launch any digital product, you do want to sit down and consider the who, and then sit down and visualize what does that person look like in terms of life, career, or business on a weekly or monthly basis? What does a typical life or a day in the life look like for that particular individual? So that's always number one. And it seems so easy, but you wouldn't believe how many people produce a digital product without even considering who they're creating a digital product for. Okay. Now, number two is one of my favorites because this is where a lot of my clientele has realized that they are sitting on a pot of gold, right? So, have you been giving away anything for free that could be flipped into a digital product? And so, I'm just going to name off some places that most people forget to look at in terms of what they've already created, just even in brainstorming time. So you want to go to your phone and look at any type of notepad that comes on your phone. So I have a iPhone, so it already has the notes notepad. Then you may download additional apps like, what is it called? Evernote or something like that. And then you may have online journals, good notes. You want to go look on your iPad. You want to go look on your computer in your Google Doc. If you have a project management system, do you take notes when you have a team meeting? All of these places are housing, I am sure, about 5 to 10 digital product ideas. They may not be all the way thought out, but sometimes when you go and look at your vaults, you may realize that you can actually start talking about the digital product for the who that we just finished talking about right now. Why? Because you've already used that digital product when you were, let's just say, seeing a customer or a client, depending on what line of work you do, right? So when I first launched my digital product, which was like a download, I looked at what I was doing with clients through therapy. And so a lot of it would be their homework activities. They would be able to give me feedback on it. They would tell me, what it did for them in different parts of their life that we were focused on. And I was like, oh my gosh, like later on when I would go to like these marketing boot camp workshops, I realized that even my first book was sitting right there in my file cabinet in my office. And so again, you're sitting on a pot of gold, but have you given yourself time to sit down and go through all of these notepads, notebooks, online digital notebooks and notepads to look at. Do any of maybe your brainstorming ideas have anything in common where maybe even you can merge four of the ideas to make like a 10-page downloadable book? Please note when we say book, you do not have to have like a Stephen King novel, 500 pages, in order for it to be a viable product, right? At this point in time, people's attention span is so short, it's ridiculous. And so you want them to get a mini transformation right away. So, prime example, as I am going live right now, I've been live for what, 5 minutes, right? And so far, if you forgot, you may know the who of who you want to serve, but you may have forgot, like, oh crap, I have a whole ideas list in my Google Drive. I just remembered based on what I just, showed you. So that gave you a mini transformation where right after this video, you're going to go to your computer and look at those ideas or put it on your calendar to look at it in the future. Okay. So that's the second thing you want to consider is, have you been giving stuff away for free? Have you been just creating stuff on Canva is another one. And can you go look at any of those things to see if there's a digital product that serves who you desire to serve and can give someone a transformation? I cannot say that over and over again, like enough. Okay. You want to create a product for the person, not for you. Okay. All right. Next one, the third one is, how would you like to deliver this digital product? And so I know that I'm kind of like throwing a wide net, but I would like you to take some time to think about and visualize, how do you see the person receiving your digital product? Do you want them to get it via email? Do you want something to be like in video? Do you want it to be audio, or a combination of both, right? Because when you sit down and you think about what kind of transformation or experience do I want this person to have, that will be usually the first thing that you do to create the product in terms of delivery. And again, this may cost money. It definitely will be time. So it doesn't mean you start there, but that may be your ultimate vision. So I'll give you a prime example of something that's happening actually right now. We have a private practice boot camp happening in the next 2 weeks on the 18th. I, for the last year, have been doing them all boot camps. We did one masterclass webinar type in January, but outside of that, I prefer to do boot camps in this season, right? But in the past, we have provided like a Cliff Notes version via audio podcast only. So for people who could not make all of the days of the boot camp, because we're talking to business owners and people who have a job, you may not be able to like show up every day for no 45 minutes to an hour, nor may you desire to do so. You may not be a visual stimuli learner like myself. So you may want access to the replay. So we wanted to make sure that the delivery was available for instant replay. So that's why we live stream. And then we also, this season, I recognize over the last year and a half that our viewers on live has been decreasing, but our replays have been increasing. So I'm an experimenter, especially around digital products. And I went into the Bootcamp Experience Telegram group. And I asked them, like, hey, out of curiosity, because me and my team were already like brainstorming about adding this to the next launch. And I'm like, out of curiosity, how many of you know that you're going to like be live? And how many of you know you're going to automatically catch the replay on more than one day? And a few people voted. And the fact that the first few people who voted said replay, I was like, okay. So what I end up doing is I sat down in one day, I pre-recorded from my slides an abbreviated version. And what I mean by abbreviated is it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the meat and potatoes of what the bootcamp will include, but it doesn't have the portions where I'm telling them to write down their answers and put it in the chat box, because that interaction is what typically makes the bootcamp live experience longer. And that fits a certain group of people because of the active learningness. Sometimes we need that active learning component to make the stuff stick. So if you can clearly come live, because it's a different experience. So what I did is I pre-recorded all of the sections, and it's a total of 7 like audios, but I also have a video. I actually recorded it on the same platform that I'm doing this live show. Double dip with knowing how I saw the experience going. I did not only want to do an audio podcast because some people may prefer to watch it via video. So I gave them the option. Here's the audio, the videos, and the show notes. And we're going to give everybody who signed up for the bootcamp experience for this round, we're going to send them a link on Monday, and we're going to say, hey, if you know that you want the cliff notes and you also want to get started early, because there are some introductions to private practice, to myself, and to the experience early, you got 3 episodes waiting on you to show you how this is going to go. But you can always come to the live session for the Monday through Wednesday live boot camp. Okay. So why am I sharing that with you? I sat down and I visualized what kind of experience do I want my ideal client to have during that live workshop series. And I had it in my mind. Some people who sign up, they have a 9 to 5 job. They absolutely cannot watch the live video. They can't even be on their phone. Some people have a client during that time, even if they have their private practice. Some people just don't desire to watch a video. Some people don't have an hour. So we want to hit all points, all learning styles, delivery methods, and so much more. Does that make sense? So now what I want to do is deliver my promise on the second part of this video. And I want to share with you 5 different ways that are all digital products that you can diversify your streams of income. Okay. Now, I want to put a little disclaimer that we have what's called a digital side hustle club membership program. We meet once a monthly. From time to time, I do bonus pop-up, which is like an unlisted YouTube video that I give just to them, or it may be an extra Zoom call, but it really depends on what is happening with their products, where I see fit to do like a bonus additional session. Most of the time, just to save people time, is that I will record a audio podcast, or if I need to record a video, and they have a private podcast feed. So I'm a real big advocate for, I'm not trying to take up more than your time, because the whole purpose of you adding a digital product is to leverage more time. So I wanted to explain that program because we are entering into our last 7 days of people being able to join for the dollar trial. And then the membership, as of right now, that will expire as of next Thursday, is $22. And so that's March 14th, I believe, we'll have our community call. And after that, the price will be a little bit more than doubling. Okay. So if you want to participate, we are going to be talking about how do you debrief a launch. Let's just say you put out a product and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Well, let's talk about some of the metrics and things that you should be looking at to then rinse and repeat and launch it again. We've already started that discussion in our Telegram group. So we have a lot of touch points with our clients if they won't help, right? But then also what we're going to be talking about is different ways that you can continue to diversify your product if you're still stuck in the idea phase, okay? So I'm going to give them a lot of them, like over 30 over the course of, a couple of our community calls, but I wanted to expose you to 5, okay, right now. So one of my favorite ones is an ebook, because an ebook doesn't require you to write necessarily paragraphs. You can make a workbook, you can do Q&A, you can do affirmations, you can do quotes, right? But bottom line is somebody can download it. It can be a checklist with an activity. You can decide what you want that ebook to be. So ebook is one of the main ones that our community members focus on, primarily because they did a homework assignment. They looked at all of their data online in terms of where they have free stuff. And they realized that all of the stuff put together is a beautiful ebook, but now they have to, of course, get help with a basic design and then how they want to deliver it. Okay. And then we teach them on the launch phases. Number 2 is, if you are a therapist or whatever your field is, how can you create a toolkit, right? So let's just say if somebody was in the real estate industry and they're working with people on getting approved for a home in the loan area, right? Could you create a toolkit for credit? I'm not saying you repair credit, but maybe what are some tips that you can give people in a downloadable way or a video where they can get access to something to help them improve their credit, improve their chances, saving up money for a down deposit, or honestly, just education around the buying process, right? Therapy toolkit. Of course, we want to be very mindful of this. We don't want to, if you're a provider, you don't want to put someone in a position where they're reading your ebook and the questions that you ask them put them in a crisis. So my rule of thumb is like if your goal is to open up somebody's Pandora's box and they don't have access to you or anyone, it's probably not a good idea, right? You do want to protect the person even though they're not your client. Number three is clearly a podcast. So these days, you can do a podcast in a variety of ways. You can do a podcast just strictly audio. You can do a podcast on platforms like YouTube. You can do a video podcast in which certain videos that I stream live here, I may choose based off the season that we're in, or I may do it later. I can go into the system that I'm using right now and download the video and download the audio. I can repurpose the videos for social media, but I can also repurpose the audio podcast and I can upload it raw, like the way that I'm talking right now, the beginning and the end, the intro and the outro, and that's it. Or I can have my team break up the two segments in this video and make it a audio podcast. Okay. So if you want to build community, you want to talk to your clientele or prospective clients, you can create a podcast. Number four is online workshop. And so, is there a topic in which you desire, or maybe your audience desires, for you to deliver it like where they can see you? It doesn't mean that you need to see them. One of the reasons why I like StreamYard, when I go live, or you can also clearly stream live directly in Facebook or in YouTube. I just like all the things that we can do on the back end. Is that I can show up and my clients or my customers or our community does not have to feel forced like they have to be seen on screen, right? Also, my community has been hearing me talk about this black screen era. I really don't desire, if I am putting myself in front of you and I can see you and you can see me, I prefer that I don't feel like I'm talking now. Like I come on here knowing that you're listening or you're watching live or the replay, but it's not an expectation that you're going to hop on screen and talk back to me. You can say stuff in the comment box. So it's a different mindset versus when you're doing a virtual workshop. I typically would tell people I like for you to engage with me by me even being able to see your facial expressions, right? Because I do see faces. And so that's something to consider if you like to speak, too. Number five, if you are into the healing practices, coaching, or mental health, of course, you got to like your own voice. Do you do any type of meditations or guided meditations that maybe you even do with your clients? This is something that I don't think that it's available. It may be hidden somewhere, but this is something that was on my YouTube channel for years and it got so many views from people online, especially during 2020. It was a muscle relaxation exercise that I would do with all of my adolescents and some adults that suffered from severe anxiety, social anxiety, PTSD. It was just a way to ground them in the session. So when they would come into my physical space in my office, I would close the blinds so that it's not pitch black, but that it's just like not so sunny in Southern California. And I would tell them to lay on the couch or sit up straight, put their feet grounded on the floor, however they choose. And I walked them through activity. And over time, I realized with doing it also in other organizations and clients, I realized how beneficial it was, but I wasn't comfortable with my voice because my voice is like raspy and strong. It's not soft. I could make it sound soft, but that's just not the way that I talk most of the time. And so I decided just to wing it. And I put up like a picture of a beach or something like that, or a video of a beach. And then I just did like a screen recording with my voice over it, like on an app on my computer. And it did pretty well. And what I end up doing is repurposing that content, not knowing what I know now. And any of my clients who said, wow, this was good, I wish I can do this at home. Well, you can. I mean, clearly in therapy, I can't sell them a digital product like that. But I'm just saying, like, I sent them to my YouTube channel for completely free. So that's something else that you want to consider. Okay. So that wraps up this video. I just want to leave you with some announcements so that if you do want to join the Digital Side Hustle Club and or the boot camp, I do want to be able to let you know how to do that. So everything that I have going on right now and in our community, it is always at drtk.com/links. The Digital Side Hustle Club and the Private Practice Bootcamp are all linked up in the show notes on the bottom of this video already. So you can just click the link again. The Digital Side Hustle Club is our monthly membership community. We have Telegram. And I also want to be clear that this community is for the individual who, I'm not saying that you are if you don't meet the criteria, you can't come in. But the bulk of our clientele are healers, therapists, and like coaches, right? It is also individuals who have not ever launched a digital product, or they tried and they have not been successful, and they want to launch a simple digital product. We're not talking about coaching programs that require funnels and all these sales pages. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about things that you can add in the beginning, at least on the side, where you do have to put in work, you do have to watch some lessons or listen to them. One of the benefits, again, is that that program, actually the bootcamp does as well, but that program has a online course portal with 7 to 8 lessons already for you, helping you identify a digital product, talking about the benefits of a digital product, and then I'll walk you through an explainer video segment of what are the 4 launch phases. And the goal would be you start with phase 1, and then you come to the Telegram community to get support, and you show up to the coaching calls to get community, to get help once a month. We also have our Telegram community, and then we also have a private podcast feed. So what has happened is that when we have live calls, sometimes the live calls can be 60 to 75 minutes, but there may be a section of the live call that I would prefer to carve out and put on the private podcast feed, so that people who just want to catch a cliff note version without everybody else's questions, even though questions are good, right, for you to learn from other people's experiences, some people may just want the information piece and not the implementation piece. So if they want the whole replay, they go to the portal. If they want my carve out, they can go to the private podcast feed. So we just have a way of like helping you implement launching your first or relaunching a digital product with ease, and bouncing your ideas off of us in our Telegram group. We've had some great conversations, especially this week, because I'm prepping them for the call next week. And so I am not the person where you just come to the call and we willy-nilly. I have been a college professor for over 18 years, and I am really big on allowing you to ask your questions about your products in terms of being flow, but also very structured in that I want you all to come prepared so that you can get the most out of your time with your investment, financial and time investment, right? So if that's something that you're interested in, again, you can get in for the dollar trial. That trial period will actually go away next Thursday before our call. And even if you can't make our call, the replay is available and you can get into the community. Last announcement is if you are interested in either relaunching your solo practice. I've been reading some people's DMs and messages, and they're like, I started a private practice on accident, but I want to launch all these streams of income. Or I really need to work on the infrastructure of my private practice, but I want to join this program for digital products or something else. And the first thing that I would say is let's just focus on first your lowest hanging fruit. If your lowest hanging fruit right now is private practice, and that is what's not stable and what's not maintaining you to be able to remove yourself, because some people hear it as like, well, I'm making money. I'm making 8,000. I'm making 15,000. And that's fine. But if I removed you from your private practice 5 to 10 times a week, would it stop getting referrals? Would it stop running? Would billing not be done? Probably, because you're doing everything on your own. You're not delegating. We're talking about business ownership and delegation and systems, your operating system. So what will happen is if somebody's trying to launch or relaunch 2 different streams of income at the same time, it's not going to go very well, because you can't put all your energy in 2 places at the same time. So I do want to be clear about that, because when people see my resources page, they may go through all of them and want to join all of them. And I would just say, what should be your focus in the next 90 days? We're already at the end of the first quarter. So maybe fast forward that and ask yourself, what should be my focus by the second quarter, between April, May, and June? What should I be working on? And what you will find is that when you hone in and tunnel vision and focus on that one thing, you will more than likely like finish the process a lot sooner, because you are tunnel vision in. Okay. So I hope that you've enjoyed this live workshop today related to things to consider when you want to earn 50K in your business. And let me just leave you with this. The reason why I called it 50K by now is that I applied all of the things that I talked to you about today. So I served a particular audience in all of my products. I have launch systems set up in my business as operating systems that I even learned by investing my time and money in coaching programs and mentorship over the last like 8+ years. I knew exactly how I wanted the products and services to be delivered. So I then, invested money into systems for them to run. I had to sit down and learn for myself first before I delegated it out how to do basic project management, how to set myself a timeline, how to put together a vision for a product and then launch it. And if it doesn't launch in the way that I desire, I may not shut it down, I may just tweak it. And so um, what a lot of people don't know is that even though business, I guess I'm not wrapping up because this is more mindset stuff. Even though business for a lot, and I do air quotes, a lot of entrepreneurs right now is slower than what it was over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it doesn't mean that you should give up on your vision, right? So when we look at our revenue compared to this time last year, we're down like over 50%. But the fact that I can wake up each morning and say, wow, passive income is being earned. Active income is being earned, meaning I'm showing up for something that I may have launched a while ago or last month, and we're being paid for it either in full or every month. When I look at my monthly recurring revenue just on one platform, it doesn't count other streams of income, it doesn't count other platforms like a Kajabi or other Stripe accounts. That's just what I put, like on Instagram, for example, the 21,000. That's just from one platform. And so I know that I am very blessed, but I also know that, of course, I would want to double that, triple that, quadruple that. But when I look at us being as a team, being able to generate over $20,000 a month doing what I love while I've doubled down on spending more time with my family, I've doubled down on going to the gym low key every day. I know you're supposed to have a rest day. I just have an active rest day. On my rest day, I just walk on the treadmill as though somebody's walking outside. It's the same thing. I go home, no weights, right? But I've focused on my health. I've been focusing recently on my nutrition. And I've also focused on just being present, being mindful, and being aligned, right? So when I look at like our like one platform and I say, okay, from January 1st until now, how much cash has been collected, which also does not count how much cash is coming from people joining our programs and doing payment plans or doing something else with us and it has like a broken up like a payment option, right? It's just like, wow, like I created the lifestyle that I want. So I'm just here to like tell you that if you are in the mindset position right now where or mindset frame where you just feel like I can't dig myself out of this hole, I've been there. Even recently, I look at like, I'm not where I used to be. But then I think to myself, like, am I serving who I want to serve? Yes. Am I showing up how I want to show up? Yes, with improvements. Do I love the team that I've built? Yes, right? Am I doing the things in my personal life that I enjoy? Yes. And so, with that said, I will constantly be blessed and I will constantly be able to be in a state of gratitude, which means that I am magnetically also attracting people within our community. I call it a collective that also want that energy as well. One of the things that I shared with our team this morning is that, we do debriefing, we do talk about student successes in all of our programs. But what I want to start doing is not spending so much time focusing on what some students are not doing to see results in their business because they're independent, they're adults. And instead, outside of like tweaking some enhancements and how we structure our program, let's spend the bulk of our time highlighting the people who are doing what they're supposed to do. Because I think what will happen, because it happened on this Tuesday with our newsletter and our digital side hustle club, is that when we recognize the students who were speaking out loud about what they were doing, where they were stuck, and implementing our feedback, meaning they asked for help, it was super magical. Where when we went in the Telegram group, I told everybody, hey, if you in these communities, go and give these people a shout out because some of them are not here to see themselves like on the screen. And so they did. And that showed to me like a great community in terms of like you are each other's cheerleader. But what did it do in our community? It amped up some people that were a little dormant and saying like, oh, I'm stuck. Oh man, I need some help. Man, you just hyped me up with that, like the newsletter recap of what they were doing. The people are like also recognizing that why are you discounting every single thing that you've done to count toward where you're going? What does that mean? Just because you didn't earn $1,000 in your first 30 days of joining the club doesn't mean that you didn't make progress. You made progress because when you came in, you had no idea of a product. You had no idea of the 4 launch phases. So what did you do over the first 30 days? You became an information king or queen, right? But now it's time to implement. Now it's time to implement. And while you're implementing, as you are learning, ask for help. Okay. And so this is the type of community that we thrive off of, is working with one another. So again, if you want to learn more about launching a simple digital product, check out the Digital Side Hustle Club by clicking the link in the show notes or seeing the link on the screen. And if, of course, you're interested in the boot camp, that's something that is not open up all the time. And so, if you want to participate and either open up a private practice in the next 3 to 6 months, or assess the current private practice that you have, especially with back office systems, so that you can eventually scale your time, then you definitely want to sign up. And the doors for the Dope Therapist Academy, which is our signature 12-week coaching program for private practice solo owners, that opens up after the boot camp. So the only way you will be able to enroll is if you partake in the boot camp and get on our list for the boot camp. Okay. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Earn great money that you're aligned with. And go ahead and comment on the bottom of this video and let me know, what was your biggest takeaway? What is something that you're going to do in your business? And again, check out the links for the programs. All right. Bye.